Everyone said Qinghan, Jiangcheng University's campus beauty, was the moon beyond reach, the peak of a snowy mountain, a pure white gardenia no one could ever possess. Until that day, I found someone had secretly drunk from my cup. A white shirt mysteriously vanished from my closet, and she, so far above everyone else, was clutching my jacket in a deserted corner, wearing an obsessed, intoxicated expression. Qinghan was our university's undisputed goddess. It sounded a little exaggerated, but it fit her perfectly. She was too beautiful to seem real. Her skin was so fair, it seemed to glow in sunlight. Her eyes shimmered like autumn water. Whenever she looked at someone, her gaze was faintly detached, yet it seemed to see straight into their heart. Her grades were unfailingly first in the department. Her family was so prestigious that ordinary students like us only knew of it through rumors. She seemed to live above the clouds, untouched by a speck of dust. And I, Lichuan, was nothing more than an average college student. Every day, I went to class, ate, went to the library, and occasionally played basketball with my roommates. She and I should have been parallel lines, never destined to meet. At most, on some afternoon, through rows of library shelves, I would steal a glance at her profile as she read quietly. Her eyes were lowered. Her long lashes cast a small shadow beneath her lids. She was beautiful as a painting frozen in time. I thought my college life would pass in this quiet, unremarkable crush. Until gym class that day. The afternoon sun was blazing. After a basketball game, I was drenched in sweat. My soaked t-shirt clung to my back, and water still dripped from my hair. I held a bottle of water, twisted off the cap, and gulped it down as I walked back. The icy water slid down my throat, taking away much of the heat. Just then, I passed the rest area for Qinghan's class. She was sitting with several girls, looking down at her phone, as if sensing someone approach. She instinctively looked up. Our eyes met without warning. My mind went blank. My heart skipped a beat. She froze too, and those always cool, distant eyes of hers, an emotion I could not understand flickered. The tip of her nose seemed to twitch lightly, like a kitten sniffing an unfamiliar scent. Then, before my eyes, her cheeks flushed a deep crimson. Against her snowy skin, the blush stood out vividly. She hurriedly looked away, lowering her head again, but her tightly pressed lips betrayed her turmoil. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Qinghan was blushing at me. That was less likely than Mars crashing into Earth. My buddy behind me tapped me. Lichuan, what are you staring at? You look completely lost. I came back to myself and shook my head, casting that absurd thought from my mind. She must have thought I reeked of sweat and looked like a mess. Yes, that had to be it. But from that day on, everything began to feel strange. I noticed Qinghan's gaze kept landing on me, deliberately or not. During lectures in the tiered classroom, I sat by the window in the back row. She clearly sat in the front row. Yet whenever class ended, she would casually turn around, sweeping her gaze across the crowd, until it settled precisely on me for a second or two. Then she would quickly look away, as though nothing had happened. At the library, at my usual seat, she had somehow begun sitting across from me. She would bring a book and a coffee, then sit there quietly, reading all afternoon. But she seemed to turn pages very slowly, and her gaze often drifted over her book toward me. In the cafeteria, with thousands of students in that enormous hall, she always somehow appeared, in the line where I was waiting, or at a table right beside mine. Once was coincidence, twice was chance, but 3 times, 4, 5. I began to think, maybe I was not just imagining things. My roommate Lao Gao noticed it too. He leaned over conspiratorially and nudged me with his elbow. Lichuan, why do I feel like the campus beauty is watching you? My heart lurched, but I kept a straight face. Why would she look at me? Do I have answers written on my face? Lao Gao looked serious. Honestly, I noticed it just now. She looked at you 3 times, each for more than 3 seconds. Psychologically speaking, that means she is into you. I said nothing, but my heart began pounding uncontrollably. I decided to run an experiment. The next day, at the library, I deliberately avoided my usual seat and chose a secluded corner instead. Less than half an hour after I sat down, that familiar figure appeared at the end of the aisle. Qinghan held a book in her arms, her gaze searching the room. When she saw me, her beautiful eyes visibly lit up. Without the slightest hesitation, she walked straight toward me. Then, she gently sat down across from me. The whole thing felt as natural as if she had rehearsed it countless times. My breathing nearly stopped in that moment. My heart pounded like a drum in my chest. Thump. Thump, thump, each beat hit harder. She really was following me. The realization filled me with dizzying elation, but it was followed by deeper confusion. Why? What about me could possibly attract someone like her? I was not ugly, but I was nowhere near breathtaking either. My grades were above average, and my family was ordinary. Put me in a crowd, and I would be the most forgettable person there. I could not make sense of it. Then something even stranger happened soon after. I had a slight cold that day. I brought a thermos to class, with some malva nut tea steeping inside. During the break, I went to the restroom. When I came back, I clearly remembered placing my cup on the right side of my desk. But now, it was on the left. Even the lid was facing a different direction. I frowned, thinking I had remembered wrong. I picked up the cup, twisted open the lid, and took a sip. It felt warm in my hands. The water inside seemed lower. I did not think much of it then. I assumed the herbs had absorbed some water, or that it had evaporated. But over the following week, similar things kept happening. The bottled water I left on my desk would be different whenever I returned. Its water level mysteriously lower. There was clearly no sign anyone had touched it, and the cap was screwed on tight. At first, I suspected one of my roommates was pranking me. I casually sounded out Lao Gao. Lao Gao, have you been especially thirsty lately? Lao Gao looked utterly baffled. No, why? Nothing. Just asking. So it was not him. In my mind, a suspicion so absurd that I could barely believe myself began to form. To test it, I bought another bottle of water. Before my major class, in front of the whole class, I unscrewed the cap and took a big drink. Then I put the bottle in the corner of my desk and secretly took a photo with my phone, recording the water level. The bell rang. The professor lectured endlessly at the podium, but I could not take in a single word. All my attention was focused on what I could see from the corner of my eye. There was Qinghan's back in my peripheral vision. She wore a white dress that day, her long hair draped over her shoulders. Quiet and lovely. She sat perfectly straight, listening attentively, occasionally lowering her head to take notes. Nothing about her seemed unusual. Had I really been overthinking it? The 45-minute class dragged on like a century. At last, the dismissal bell rang. The professor dismissed us, and the students gradually left the classroom. I stayed put, pretending to pack my things, while peering through the gap beneath my arm. At Qinghan, she was packing too, but very slowly. She seemed to be waiting. Before long, the vast classroom held only her and me, plus a few scattered students sleeping at their desks. She stood up, but she did not head for the door. Instead, she turned toward me. My heart leaped into my throat. Step by step, she came toward me. Her high heels struck the floor with crisp clicks. Every click felt like it landed on my heart. She stopped beside my desk. With my head lowered, I caught a faint scent from her, the sweet fragrance of gardenias. What did she want? Talk to me, or something else? The next second, I saw a slender, fair hand reach toward my desk, gently, with the faintest tremble. That hand picked up the bottle of water I had drunk from. I held my breath completely. I watched her raise the bottle before her eyes, as though checking something. Then, she quickly glanced at me still, bent over and pretending to pack my things. Her eyes were nervous, yet full of an almost greedy longing. Then she did something that made my mind go blank. She unscrewed the cap, tilted her head back slightly, and brought the opening to her cherry-pink lips. Then she carefully took a small sip. Her throat bobbed softly. Her cheeks flared so red they seemed ready to bleed, as though she was not drinking water, but some divine nectar, or poison intoxicating enough to make her drunk. After drinking, she quickly tightened the cap and put the bottle back where it was. The whole thing took less than 5 seconds, so fast it felt like a hallucination. If I had not seen it myself, I would never have believed it. Qinghan, the untouchable campus beauty, cool as the moon, had secretly drunk the water I had left behind. Once she had done it, she looked as though she had completed an important ritual, yet also like a guilty thief. With hurried steps, she practically fled the classroom. I froze in my seat, unable to move for a long time. Slowly, I raised my head and looked at the bottle in the corner of my desk. Sunlight streamed through the window, scattering flecks of light across the bottle. I took out my phone and compared it with the photo I had taken earlier. The water level really had gone down. The evidence was undeniable. I was not dreaming. My mind was a complete mess. Excitement, shock, disbelief, and an indescribable secret delight. All those emotions tangled together, nearly drowning me. Why would she do that? Did she really like me? Like me so much that she had to use this way to gain even the tiniest connection with me? That thought made me feel as though I were walking on clouds, weightless and unreal. But the water incident was only the beginning. What truly convinced me she harbored an almost obsessive fixation on me was my missing clothes. The first thing to disappear was my school uniform jacket. After physical education class that day, I draped it over the back of my classroom chair and went to the cafeteria to eat. When I returned to the classroom that evening to get something, my jacket was gone. I searched the entire classroom, but it was nowhere to be found. I thought a classmate had taken it by mistake, so I asked in the class group chat, but nobody replied. It was only a uniform jacket, so I did not dwell on it. But just a few days later, one of my white t-shirts also vanished. It was a t-shirt I really liked, made of pure cotton, and very comfortable to wear. I remembered clearly. I had washed it and hung it on the balcony the night before. When I woke the next morning, it had vanished into thin air. Our dorm balcony was partially enclosed. No wind could possibly have blown it away. I asked every roommate, but they all said they had not seen it. Things were starting to get strange. Then a third piece of clothing went missing. It was a hoodie I had bought not long ago. Gray, and worn only once. It was the day I ran into Qinghan at the library. I wore it that day, while sitting in the library all afternoon. Now it, too, was gone from my closet. It had mysteriously disappeared. If once was an accident, and twice was coincidence, then 3 times meant someone was doing it deliberately. A thought struck my mind like lightning. It was her, Qinghan. I could not think of anyone else. The moment that thought surfaced, it frightened even me. It was insane. She had secretly drunk my water, and now she was stealing my clothes. That aloof, proud, otherworldly campus beauty. How could she possibly do something like this? This was the kind of thing a deranged stalker in a novel would do. I needed proof. I could not make baseless guesses. I decided to run another experiment. This time, I would set a trap and let her walk right into it. I searched through my closet and found a white shirt. I had worn it for years, and its collar was frayed, but it meant a great deal to me because it carried the strongest trace of my scent. I deliberately put on that shirt and ran 5 laps around the track until I was drenched in sweat. The shirt was soaked through, and a powerful scent, uniquely mine, mixed with sweat and sunshine, clung to every inch of fabric. After all that, I returned to my dorm. I did not wash the shirt. Instead, I folded it and put it in a clean bag. Then I sent Lao Gao a message. Gao, do me a favor. You are in the student council, right? Help me put this back in the lost and found outside your office. Lao Gao replied quickly. It is just an old shirt. Lichuan. Why not throw it out? Do not ask. Just do it. Fine. At your service. I gave the bag to Lao Gao. I knew Qinghan was head of the student council's arts department. She went to the student council office every day. The lost and found was right outside the office. She was bound to see it when she passed by. All that was left was to wait for the fish to bite. For the next 2 days, I was on edge. I watched Qinghan's every move. She seemed just as she always did, attending class, going to the library, taking part in student council events. Aloof, elegant, and impeccably composed. She showed no sign that anything was wrong. Had I been wrong? Had she not taken my clothes? Just as I was about to give up, things took a turn. I had no classes that afternoon. I was gaming in my dorm when Lao Gao suddenly burst through the door, looking as if he had seen a ghost. Lichuan. Something huge happened. My heart tightened as I pulled off my headphones. What happened? Qinghan, the campus beauty. She. Lao Gao was too excited to speak clearly. What about her? Tell me. She took your shirt. My mind buzzed. Are you sure? I saw it with my own eyes. Lao Gao lowered his voice, still looking stunned. I was taking some documents to the office just now, and I saw her pull your bag from the lost and found bin. She looked around, like a thief, then quickly shoved it into her bag. Lao Gao went on. I was completely dumbfounded. Was that not the shirt you told me to put there? Why would she take one of your old shirts, especially a sweaty one? Could it be? Lao Gao looked at me, his gaze suddenly full of teasing admiration. Lichuan, you are incredible. When did you win over the campus beauty? She is so in love with you that she is even collecting your sweaty old shirt. I ignored Lao Gao's noisy excitement. A raging storm surged inside me. It confirmed everything. Everything. She was the one drinking my water. She was the one stealing my clothes, too. That flawless goddess in everyone else's eyes secretly had such a mad obsession with me. I did not know how to feel. Mostly, I felt uncontrollable elation and a fierce urge to uncover the truth. I had to find her and confront her face to face. I had to ask her myself why she had done all this. I rushed out of the dorm and frantically searched campus for Qinghan, the classrooms, the library, the student council office. She was nowhere. I took out my phone, wanting to call her, only to realize I did not even have her contact information. We were such strangers that we did not even have each other's WeChat contact. Yet she was using the most obsessive means to invade my life. The sky slowly darkened. I had searched nearly the entire campus. Just as despair was setting in, I suddenly thought of somewhere. The small woods on the hill behind campus. It was secluded, a place few people ever visited. I had once happened to see her go there alone. Clinging to my last sliver of hope, I ran toward the back hill. Sure enough, in a clearing deep in the woods, I saw that familiar figure. Qinghan sat on the grass with her back to me. She was holding something white in her arms. It was my shirt. My steps instinctively slowed and softened. Like a hunter, I quietly approached my prey. As I drew closer, I heard faint sobs, desperately stifled. She was crying. I hid behind a large tree and cautiously peeked out. Moonlight filtered through gaps in the leaves, scattering across her in mottled patches. She held the shirt tightly against her chest, then buried her face deep in it. That gesture was reverent, as if she were holding a priceless treasure. I saw her shoulders trembling softly. She greedily breathed in the lingering scent on the shirt. My scent. Her face wore an expression I had never seen before. Obsession, rapture, pain, and a trace of satisfied relief. In that instant, I seemed to understand. It was not because I was handsome, nor because there was anything exceptional about me. What drew her in was my scent. That realization shocked me more than her stealing my clothes. My scent. I raised my wrist and smelled myself. It was an ordinary smell, with even a hint of post-workout sweat. Yet this scent had a fatal attraction for her. I could not hold back any longer. I stepped out from behind the tree. I stepped on fallen leaves, making a rustling sound in the silent woods. That sound seemed especially clear. Qinghan's body suddenly went rigid, like a startled deer. She instantly lifted her head. When she turned around and saw me standing just behind her, the color in her face drained away in an instant. She became pale as paper. Shock first filled her beautiful eyes, followed by overwhelming panic and despair. The shirt in her arms became like a burning coal, dropping to the ground with a slap. Her lips parted, but no sound came from her throat. Tears rolled from her eyes like pearls from a broken string. She probably thought I had come to catch a thief. She thought her most shameful, most humiliating secret had been exposed. She must have believed that I now saw her as a pervert. Seeing how close she was to breaking apart, my heart suddenly clenched in pain. I was neither angry nor accusing. I simply moved slowly, step by step, toward her. I stopped before her and bent down, picking up the white shirt from the ground. I brushed the dust from it, then looked into her red-rimmed eyes. My voice was gentler than ever. It is getting dark. Why are you out here alone? She froze. She stared at me blankly, as though she had not expected this reaction. She bit her lip, and her tears flowed even harder. I am sorry. Her voice was thick with tears, broken and helpless. I did not mean to. I will give it back. I could not control myself. She tried to explain, her words tumbling over each other, her hands nervously clutching the hem of her clothes. I sighed and sat down beside her. Only a fist width separated us. I could smell the lovely gardenia fragrance on her, mixed with the salty tang of tears. Can you tell me why? I asked. Silence. A long, drawn-out silence. There was only the rustle of wind through the leaves, and her stifled sobbing. Just when I thought she would not answer, she finally spoke. Her voice was so soft, as if it might shatter in the wind at any moment. Since I was very young, I have suffered from severe insomnia and an anxiety disorder. I have seen many doctors, and taken so much medicine, but none of it helped. Every day, I live wound tight, feeling like I might snap at any moment. Her words twisted my heart painfully. I had never imagined that Qinghan, who seemed to have everything, carried such pain. Until that day, she paused, as if gathering all her courage. That day on the field, after you finished playing ball, you walked past me. I caught a scent. Your scent. She looked up at me. Her tear-washed eyes were breathtakingly bright. I do not know how to describe that feeling. It was like someone about to drown, suddenly breathing fresh air. Every nerve in my tightly wound body, in that instant, finally relaxed. That feeling was so wonderful, so intoxicating. From that day on, I went mad. I could not stop myself from wanting to be near you, wanting to smell you. I know it is shameless. I desperately tried to restrain myself, but I could not. Your scent is like a drug to me. I cannot quit it. Later, I started secretly drinking the water you left behind and stealing the clothes you had worn because they carried your scent. Holding them let me sleep peacefully. She said it all in one breath, as if it had drained every ounce of strength from her. She lowered her head, unable to look at me. Lichuan, I am sorry. You can think I am a pervert or a lunatic. You can tell everyone. I deserve it. After hearing her story, I did not speak for a long time. At last, I understood how it had all happened. To her, I was medicine, the only cure that could bring her peace. I did not think she was a pervert. I only felt heartache for her, for this girl who hid all her pain beneath a perfect exterior. I turned to look at her delicate profile. In the moonlight, crystalline tears still clung to her lashes. She looked fragile and heartbreakingly sweet. I gently reached out and drew her into my arms. Her body instantly stiffened. Do not move. My voice was a little hoarse. I tightened my arms, holding her flush against my chest, so she could most clearly breathe in the scent she craved. My scent. Silly girl, I whispered in her ear. Why did you not just tell me what you wanted? Slowly, in my arms, her body relaxed. She stopped struggling. Instead, she cautiously raised her arms around my waist. She buried her face against my chest, like a little boat that had found its harbor. I felt warm liquid soaking the front of my shirt. Over and over, I softly stroked her silky long hair. Do not do anything so foolish again. If you want something, just ask me. It is only a shirt. I have plenty. If you like them, I will give you my entire wardrobe. In my arms, she gave a muffled hum. Her voice was thick with tears. After a while, she raised her head. Her swollen, reddened eyes looked at me. Lichuan. Yeah. Then she asked hesitantly, will you hate me? I looked at her and smiled. I lowered my head close to her ear, and, in a voice only we could hear, said, "More than my scent. I hope you will become obsessed with me instead." Her whole face instantly turned crimson, the blush spreading from her cheeks to her ears. She looked at me, her eyes seeming to hold a sky full of stars. Then she rose onto her toes and pressed a soft kiss to my lips, tasting of gardenias and salty tears. The night was gentle, and the moonlight perfect. I knew that our story had only just begun. That kiss was featherlight, like a dragonfly skimming water, carrying the salty bitterness of her tears and her unique gardenia fragrance. For several seconds, my mind went completely blank. By the time I came to, she had stepped back, her face burning red. She lowered her head, too shy to look at me, like a child who had done something wrong, but could not resist sneaking a taste of candy. Her bashful look in the moonlight was so adorable that my chest tightened. I could not help laughing. Running away already, I stepped forward and caught her icy wrist. Her hand was so small, enclosed within my palm, trembling slightly. She was so nervous she could barely form a sentence. I said nothing. I simply took off my jacket and draped it over her shoulders. It still held my warmth and my distinctive scent. Her body visibly relaxed. She even instinctively curled deeper into the jacket, brushing her nose softly against its collar. That tiny gesture was like a cat seeking comfort. My heart melted completely. "Come on. I will walk you back to your dorm." Holding her hand, I led her out of the little woods that had witnessed all our secrets. Neither of us spoke on the way, but our clasped hands and my jacket around her shoulders said everything. Outside the women's dorm, she stopped walking. She looked at me with clear reluctance to part. "Keep the jacket." I cut her off. "I will bring you a new one tomorrow." Looking at her seriously, I said, "Qinghan, do not steal anymore." Her face paled again. Then I quickly finished the thought. "Just ask me for it." She stared at me blankly. Her eyes shimmered with tears once more, but this time, not from panic or despair. This time, it was joy. "Good night." I ruffled her hair. "Good night, Lichuan." It was the first time she had said my name so clearly. When I returned to the dorm, Lao Gao was lying on his bed, scrolling through his phone. When he saw me come in, he sprang upright. "Brother Chuan, you are back. Well, what happened? Did you catch the pervert who stole your clothes?" I glanced at him without speaking and walked straight to my wardrobe. I opened it and began searching through it. Lao Gao came over. "What are you looking for?" "I am telling you. When I saw Qinghan today, she looked like she had lost her soul. It must be because I took your shirt back." Lao Gao abruptly stopped talking because he saw me take a clean, neatly folded t-shirt from the wardrobe. Then I put it into a bag. Lao Gao looked completely baffled. "Brother Chuan, what are you doing? Using the lost and found to set another trap?" "No." I handed him the bag. "Do me a favor tomorrow. Give this to Qinghan." Lao Gao's jaw nearly hit the floor. "Give it to Qinghan? Are you crazy? She stole your clothes, and you are delivering more to her." I watched his shocked expression, unable to stop the smile tugging at my lips. "She is not a pervert." After a pause, I declared each word distinctly. "She is my girlfriend." The whole dorm fell silent for 3 seconds. Then it erupted in earth-shaking screams. The next day, my relationship with Qinghan spread like wildfire across the entire campus. I waited outside her dorm, and she, wearing my jacket, which was a little too big for her, she walked out of the building. In front of everyone, she came straight to me, her cheeks slightly flushed, and placed her hand in mine. In that moment, every whisper and dropped jaw around us became mere background scenery. I held her hand as we walked toward the cafeteria. The sunlight was perfect. Her hand was warm. We became the campus's most eye-catching couple. Countless eyes followed us wherever we went. Some were envious, some jealous, some disbelieving. I did not care, and Qinghan seemed not to care either. She simply stayed quietly by my side. The cool detachment in her eyes and features seemed melted by a gentle warmth. We went to the library together. She no longer sat across from me. Instead, she sat close beside me. When she grew tired of reading, she would gently rest her head on my shoulder, then close her eyes. Her breathing would slowly become calm and deep. I knew her craving had returned, but now, she could openly take in the cure she needed. One time, I looked down at her. She was deeply asleep. Her long lashes were like two little fans, and the corners of her lips curled slightly upward. It was a look I had never seen before. A peaceful, utterly unguarded sleeping face. All at once, I felt honored to be her medicine. Our relationship was no different from any ordinary couples. We attended class and ate together and took walks together. We simply had a few more little secrets that belonged to us alone. For instance, like a little animal, she would collect all my worn clothes, fold them neatly, and keep them by her bed. She grandly called them her sleep aid aromatherapy. For instance, whenever I finished playing basketball and went to see her, soaked in stinky sweat. Not only would she not mind, she would come close like a kitten, sniffing me all over, with a blissful look on her face. Then, amid the horrified stares around us, she would gently wipe away my sweat with a tissue. Lao Gao said, I had completely dragged that untouchable goddess down from her pedestal. Only I knew she was not a goddess. She was only a girl desperately lacking a sense of security, who needed my scent to fill the emptiness inside her. That night, we sat in the bleachers by the field, watching the stars. She leaned into my arms, her voice muffled. Lichuan, do you think I am too much trouble? I deliberately teased her. I felt her stiffen in my arms. I smiled and held her tighter. So, you will have to be a burden to me for the rest of your life, to make us even. She did not speak. She only buried her head deeper. After a long while, I heard her say in the softest voice, okay. That single word shone brighter than all the starlight I had ever